Building any kind of civilization in Dungeons & Dragons can be intimidating and take a lot of time. Well, I have a quick 5-step DM prep system that's not what you think it is. To quickly create a village, town, or even an entire city in less than 5 minutes. Let's roll it. Welcome to the Dungeon Coach. I'm the Dungeon Coach. I'm gonna help lower that DC in your game by lowering the time it takes you to create a city. In this video, I'm gonna share with you guys my 5-step DM prep system of creating an entire city and filling it with NPCs. I'll explain what it is and how I use it, and trust me, you don't wanna miss tip number 5. And at the end, I'll show you a live demonstration of these DM tips in action. So if you wanna save more time in your Dungeons & Dragons game with creative ideas that are outside the box, then start right now by subscribing and turning on that notification bell. I have a huge goal for this channel of hitting 10,000 subscribers by November 5th, which will mark the 1-year anniversary of me starting this channel from scratch. And based on my calculations, it doesn't look like we'll be hitting it right now, or it'll be really close. First city building step here is the size. How big is the civilization that you want to create? I start with this because it's important to know the scope or the scale of how big this thing is you want to be. What's the population? So I got a chart here for you. For me, a hamlet is 0 to 100 people, village is 100 to 1,000, towns go up to 10,000. It's over 9,000! Cities go up to 100,000, and then a kingdom is over 100,000. This is important to keep in mind to think of how many of each kind of building there are. For something like a hamlet, they might not even have an inn, but for cities, you'll have multiple. Something like a small village might not even have a blacksmith, but towns for sure would have at least one. So this one only takes a few seconds to think about, but it's important. Time out. I have posted videos every single Saturday for 10 months straight now, and I've never missed a week. But now, due to work reasons, I can't anymore. Because now I'm gonna be posting them on Sundays instead. What'd you think I was gonna say? With school starting back up, I'm coaching on Saturdays now, so I moved everything back one day to Sundays, so I'll see you guys on those live premieres. Okay. The second city creation step is the most important, and literally everything else revolves around it. What trade or export is your city most well known for? You could also call this the theme or the twist of the town that sets it apart from any other town. Taking this one choice and running with it can give you so much insight into your city and really flesh it out fast. And the list I'm about to give you can also be used for those massive kingdoms to think about the different districts or what buildings and services you want to be able to put in your town. I remember when I first sat down to build my first civilization ever, and I was like, what do you even put in a medieval city? So I have scoured through the internet and gathered up for you guys all of the medieval trades, exports, districts possible. And comment down below if you think I missed anything. Of course, there's a trade district where you'd buy everything from, but there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I'll have in another list. The craftsman district is where all this stuff is made. You have a market for food, entertainment, which can also be music and arts, guilds, you have a thieves guild, fighters guild, mage guild, or any other professions. You've got inns and taverns along with residential districts of actual houses. Security or bunkers where guards stay, religion, hospice or medical wards, sewer and sanitation, parks and a zoo. A D&D zoo, let's go. You could have some sort of government buildings or the Lord's Keep with nobility, education centers that have schools or libraries. There's a cemetery. What if your town was known for its cemetery? Ooh, we'll get into that later. Farms, jails, docks for ships and fishing, masonry and the construction of buildings, tinkers, locksmith, gadgets, and then of course there's magic shops, but what about a coliseum with fighting or even a sport? And that reminds me, I homebrewed a sport in one of my games. It would have to be its own video, but let me know if you guys want to see the Dungeon Coach give you guys a Dungeons & Dragons sport. It's called Bash Ball. But anyway, the one thing on that list that has more to it is trade and craftsman. What actual items or services could you provide? Different types of trades, you got blacksmith, leatherworkers, skinners, carpenters, woodworkers, potters, glassblowers, and jewelers, tailor, cobbler or shoemaker, stables for all the horses and carriages, an alchemist, fishing supplies, and a barber. So comment down below if I missed anything, because I really would like to make this list more complete. And let me know if you like this screenshot thing, or if you'd rather have this in a PDF, you can click down below. So if this video does end up getting enough likes and comments about it, I'll put future timeout. Yeah, so I made the PDF, links down in the description. Okay, so now with all those options out of the way, why did I just list off all those things? What you need to do is pick one of those as your city's main trade or export that they're known for. So right now I want you to picture a town whose main export is fishing. That's going to look very different and function very different than a town whose main export is blacksmithing. What about an entire city that's centered around a zoo? They've collected dangerous animals from far and wide and brought them to the center of the city. Maybe this town is the pioneer for all kinds of tinkering and gear work, and there's all these contraptions all around the city. Or what if the city's main thing is its jail system? As you can see, there's so many possibilities for this, but once you pick one, you can start to inspire and put flavor and twists on every other decision you make from there. Which brings me to this next step here. Number 3 is to add on to this city, and think of this. You've chosen your main trade or export, and if that is the main thing of this city, then what other businesses would be connected or affected by that? How would the city be unique or different and have a cause or effect of this main trade? How would a city center around this run? How does it work? This main theme of your city should bleed and influence everything else. I'll show you full examples of this at the end of the video where I put it into action. But basically, take this main export or trade and run with it. For this next part of building a city, the end of stand stands for NPC. Wait, can you do an acronym inside of another acronym? Oh well, because we're gonna break the rules again and save the NPC thing for last. Maybe I should just give up on this whole acronym thing. So the 4th step I do next is to create your city's defenses. This is a very simple one, but keep in mind that theme of the city should affect this too. How much military presence is there? What is the one unique thing about the city's defenses that make it different from other cities? Maybe a religion-themed city has no defenses, but it has a holy aura protecting it. Maybe that jail-themed city is an impenetrable fortress or has cages that enemies fall into. Or maybe a city known for its construction has a labyrinth of walls just to get to it. This is so fun and easy to think of cities and create them just with that one source of inspiration. So I saved this step for last because it can be the most intimidating. Now you have this whole city created with this awesome theme, but now you have to fill the whole thing with NPCs. But I feel like this DM prep tip is one of my best ones for saving time and stress at not only creating the city, but then actually running it off. I remember being so nervous running my first city. I had to think about every single thing that's in the city and an NPC that runs the shop for each one of those things, and then your players don't even end up going to half of them. And then they end up wanting to go to something you never thought of. So you're screwed either way. So my solution is I create an on-demand table of pre-made blank slate NPCs. I have a chart behind my DM screen that I'll show right here, but it has a personality and a quirk for each of these different NPCs. Now last week we talked about player backstories and using these two things for your players, but I use these all the time for NPCs. I also have an entire video explaining how I do this about PC and NPC creation. Really all you need to prep. You have your entire flavor of this town. You have these NPCs that whenever they go, wherever they go, you just grab one of these and grab a name, and that's the owner of the shop. I did a live stream recently where I demonstrated this approach. I took one NPC and I showed how that one inspiration could be used in multiple different settings. So here it is. I'm gonna create one NPC using this chart live right now. I'm gonna roll on my dice roller app here. I'm gonna roll a D100. We got a 99. And so we are going to be a well-traveled and knows many locations. And now I'm going to roll on the quirks. 49 has vivid auditory hallucinations. Done. I can use any of these NPCs that we just made in any building. Okay, so I'm going to ask the chat right now, what building do you want to go to as a player? Any building at all. I'm just the DM right now, waiting for the players that want to go somewhere. I want to go, because you never know what your player's going to do. You never know. Y'all want to go to the magic shop, of course. What players would not want to go to a magic shop? I would instantly look down at my chart right here. I'd see, okay, I got NPC 1, NPC 2, NPC 3. I'm just going to pick one randomly. Okay, cool. I'm going to choose Kinsor, the outgoing person that can't control their left hand. Hey guys, welcome to the shop. Welcome to the shop. Hello there, hello there. I would even say maybe their right arm isn't doing anything. And this just pops into my head because I'm thinking magic shop, like why does this person only control their left arm? I'm almost thinking their right arm is like limp or lame and they can't do anything with it. So they just overly use their left arm, come on this way, and maybe they're a caster and they are constantly doing semantic gestures, casting spells. I don't know why this is my accent for it, but whatever. Swirls his hand around, opens up stuff, right? So there's my outgoing, waving left hand NPC that's now in the magic shop. So now I want to do the same thing, but I want to take it to a different place. So the other place y'all said between was a blacksmith. So now let's do another scenario. My players wanted to go to a blacksmith instead. Or they said like, oh, never mind. We want to go to the magic shop. Let's go to the blacksmith. So they go to the blacksmith. I can still use Kinsor, assuming I haven't used them already. I can still use this Kinsor outgoing, can't control his left hand. But now with a blacksmith in mind, when I see this character with the framework of a blacksmith,
I see that he has a shaky left hand. And this is now maybe more so in line with can't control the left hand, but he has this really shaky left hand that he can't control. So he's a blacksmith and he's trying to hold something still with his left hand, bang out the hammer with his right hand, or vice versa. And he has a really shaky hammer and maybe he's kind of bang, bang, hitting all over the place. So that same NPC can be used in different locations, and it's literally like a jigsaw puzzle. Plug and play. You can plug this NPC in anywhere, wherever your players want to go.
So I hope you see now, once you have that pool of NPCs, you can use any of them for wherever your players go, or that random guard that they love talking to. The last part here is if you have an important NPC that's really connected to a quest or a story arc of some kind that's specific, then yes, spend some more time on that NPC and make sure you know a little bit more about them and flesh out who they are. But only for the super important ones, because you never know where those crazy players are going to go. So this plug and play NPC style has lowered the stress and saved me so much time. So before I show you this live example of creating the city on the live stream we did in way less than 5 minutes, if this video has been useful to you or you know a DM that it could help, please share it with them. I'm not saying this tip is the best thing ever, but I know how much it helped me and I want to try and get it out there to help more people. Live city creation, start the timer.
So what is the size of this city? Is what we got. City, village. We got a village. We got a village. We're going smaller this time. The trade export here. What's the trade export? Ooh, wine. I see wine. Exotic plants. Metal. I see metal. So what side things would go along with metal? Mining. We're going mining. Okay. The trades are metal and mining. So I'm picturing this is like part of the city is underground. Right? So you have the main city that's above ground. All the buildings are made of metal. All of it, right? I don't want to get too carried away because they're still making a city. So all of these buildings are metal. The walls are metal. That's the main city defense. So now we're at defense. Defense here is metal, huge metal walls. Another person said this in the chat is warforged guards, right? So now we have a partially underground city with metal and mining. I see a lot of dwarves in this town. Maybe there's a dwarven, like we talked about guilds. Maybe there's a dwarven guild. I just seen warforged. I'm seeing some sort of like animate armor type spells, objects, animating these metal things to be able to create suits of armor that protect the city. Metal golem, ooh. Boom, I already see the entire city. Now we would make NPCs in that same way. It would take literally a few seconds to fly through them. We'd roll in all those charts and you have your entire city with however many NPCs you need. As far as like DM prep goes, you just made a city in less than 2 minutes. As far as what you're having to worry about, like you have a city full of NPCs that you can plug anywhere you want. And if you want to take more time to make the NPCs and flush them out and all that kind of stuff, sure.
Whew, look at that. Look how fast it was. I don't know what that time actually says, but I know it's less than 5 minutes. And I know I chopped that thing up, but live, it was definitely way less than 5 minutes. And I hope you guys see this and you can do it yourself. And I also wanted to share this because it's another really quick city that we created during the live stream that was so cool. And now we're taking this city into overtime. It was all the chat's decisions, but they decided for this main export to be corpses. What? It was so cool to homebrew with you guys this dark, gloomy city with all these bodies. Why are there so many bodies? Necromancy is a heavy school in this thing. We actually talked about a sporting arena where there's a bloodbath battle to the death city that this was created in, which created more dead bodies as this export. The city's defenses were a wall of bones protected by zombie guards. So a bonus tip here for you guys is once you have your city and NPCs created, think about what these quest hooks could be. What's going on in this city that can either hook into the main storyline or your character storyline? What's happening here? Oh yeah, I almost forgot about S.P.E.R.M. This is a very popular and oddly named city building principle that stands for social, political, economical, religious, and military. The only real similarity to mine is their military is my defenses that I think is important to know for a city, but all the rest of that stuff I just don't feel is important when you don't have anything and you're just trying to get a city in the first place. I just want to know how big my city is, what's going on in there, what does it look like, and who's there. Now don't get me wrong, if you want to take a city and fully flush it out, sure you can start thinking about these types of things. But if you want to see how I do that, then I'm going to be watching how good this video does. I keep a real close eye on my videos, and whichever ones do well, I try and make more of that stuff for you guys. In fact, this one surprised me, but one of my best videos is my top 5 apps for iOS. So I'll be making a follow-up on my top 5 apps for Android. So I'll see if you guys want to see me take these cities to the next level. I also want to say a huge thank you to my supporters over on Patreon and supporting me in what I do here. We are super close to that next huge goal of ours over on Patreon, and once we hit it, I'll be updating all those reward tiers with new stuff to give you even more content. Wait, what? More Dungeon Coach content than just once a week? Whoa. I'll be sending a video out to my patrons on some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So don't forget, I'm changing my upload date from Saturday over to Sunday. So there you go, guys. I hope this brings down that DM prep time for creating those towns and cities. And I wasn't going to announce this yet, but why not? I have a lot of things in the works for this channel, and as you can tell, everything that I get, I'm putting right back into the channel, and you'll see that more soon. I want to try and start giving you guys more content than just one video a week. So I'm trying to create more time for me to be able to do that. So with everything going on in life, and with a newborn, and going back to work now, I'm trying to now assemble a team. This is what I've been working on behind the scenes with all the support I've gotten from Patreon and all these different sponsored videos. I've already said too much, so if you're interested in any of that, make sure you come join us on Discord, because that's where we'll be posting the first announcements of this. But that's why I save these juicy behind the scenes stuff for overtime. And now we're out of time, so stay creative and think outside that box. Peace.